mind and see it. Can't believe.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin ngeen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes you know fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi taas kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii
love like fire bring my love like fire
Be with all the witnesses that will come before this commission and grant them the boldness to speak the truth and grant the commission the discerning spirit to discern truth from falsehood. And we also pray for the populace that you will grant them the patience to allow the due process to complete. In Jesus' name we pray with praise and thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop Odeko. Council, if we're ready to get started, please proceed with this morning's witness.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, and members of the audience. Maria Masingate would lead the next witness. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, commissioners. Mr. Osher, can you please guide the witness in?
I, Awandao.
I, Awandao.
I, Awandao.
I, Awandao.
Do swear that
Do swear that
I'll speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
but nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good morning, Madam Witness.
Good morning.
Welcome to the TRRC.
Thank you.
Can you kindly take off the mask so that your speech will be audible? Thank you very much. Just to go over a few rules before we start.
Okay.
I'll ask you to wait for 3 seconds after I've asked my questions before you answer it so that we can avoid overlapping of speeches.
Okay.
Since you have decided to come to the TRRC to testify, you're required to speak the truth and nothing but the truth.
Okay.
So I'll urge you in all the things you say that you bear in mind that your role here is to speak the truth.
Problem.
For today, I propose that we go through several topics. First, we'll go through your background information so that the commission will get to know who you are.
Okay.
Then we'll enter into your work experience, your role in the presidential alternative treatment, the protocols and standards observed while you carried out that role, the various trips that you took to Egypt and the reason for those trips, and finally we'll discuss your personal views about the entire treatment. So we can start now.
Okay.
Can you kindly tell the commission your name?
My name is Awandao.
When and where were you born?
I born at Dipakunda on the 29th December 1975.
Can you please provide us with a brief background of your education?
Okay, I started my primary school at Bagote Primary School from 82 to 89, and from 89 to 93 at Latikunda Junior Secondary School. There I finished my schooling there.
Upon completion of your secondary education, what did you do?
No, I was a volunteer at the Gambia Red Cross Society.
Did you receive any training prior to you being a volunteer at the Gambia Red Cross Society?
Yes, first aid training.
What kind of training did you receive?
First aid training.
And how long did your training last?
No, those trainings are just internal training. It doesn't take long.
After working at the Gambia Red Cross Society as a volunteer, what did you do?
After they take me to Edward Francis as volunteer in 1996.
What was the nature of the work you were doing at RBTH?
I was a phlebotomist.
Can you please break it down for us what it means?
Yes, it's a sample collection. Somebody who's responsible for sample collection, blood sample collection.
What kind of samples do you collect?
Blood sample.
Blood samples from who exactly?
From patients.
And what kind of patients do you attend to?
Sick patients at the hospital.
Is it generally sick patients?
Yes, generally, yes.
Who was your supervisor while you were working as a volunteer?
At that time, Paje was my head of department at that time.
Did your status change from being a volunteer?
At that time?
Yes.
No, I was a volunteer for 6 months after they employed me as phlebotomist.
You were a volunteer for 6 months,
Yes.
and thereafter they employed you.
Yes.
Before they employed you, did you receive any professional training?
No.
So you were just co-opted into the
Yes, just
laboratory system of the hospital?
just internal training.
What kind of internal training did you receive?
Bench training, like working under my supervisor.
And who was that supervisor?
There were many, because any department you go, you will be supervised by somebody.
What was the procedure like at the laboratory when you receive a patient?
When you receive a patient, they will come with a request form. Name, address, age, clinical data, all. You check the form with the patient, compare the form, ask the patient whether this is the name, the age. After all, you tell the patient to sit and then collect the sample for the patient.
Do you know the rationale behind having that information about a patient before taking the sample from the patient?
Yes, to know whether it's the actual patient you are talking to.
And this was the standard adopted at the lab during that time?
Yes.
Did you work with any other types of patients apart from the normal patients that you receive that are sick and you have to collect blood samples from them while at the lab?
Yes, I only I only see patients, general patients. It's general where I was, it's general.
For how long did you work in that department where you only see general patients?
At the phlebotomy, as phlebotomist. Yes, I was there 96 to 2007. That I did my laboratory assistant course.
And what does the laboratory assistant course entail?
Yes, it's assistant certificate, laboratory assistant certificate. When I finished the course, I was posted to blood bank, where I was working with them.
Where did you receive this training?
In the hospital there.
Were you certified for that training?
Yes.
After the training, you said you were transferred to the blood bank.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what role you played there?
Just an assistant, laboratory assistant working under supervision.
What was the nature of your work as an assistant?
When you come in the morning, you clean your benches, you assist your boss who is there to bleed donors, counsel, test them. For us, we test, counsel. If you can bleed, you do the bleeding. For me, I was doing the bleeding because I was a phlebotomist before going to the blood bank. I know how to bleed.
Can you please explain what bleeding means?
For those who come to donate blood, yes, those are the ones we see at the blood bank.
Is it to say that drawing blood from them,
yes.
that's what is called bleeding?
Yeah, yes.
And you also mentioned counseling. What does the counseling part entail?
Yes, before you donate blood, we counsel you because before donating blood, we have to test you for HIV, for hepatitis, and all these things. We have to counsel you to seek your consent.
You mentioned that you were an assistant there.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your boss?
Manjara was my boss there.
And for how long did you work in the blood bank?
I worked for about 4 to 5 years, and then I was transferred to the hematology lab.
4 to 5 years, that is from 2007, right?
Yes.
To which year?
To 2000 and, no, it's 3 years, from 2007 to 2009.
2009 you were at the hematology lab.
Yeah, yes.
Can you tell us what work you did there?
General work. We do grouping there, we do malaria tests. That's where we do malaria test grouping, cross-matching, all. That's where we did it. And when you bleed donors, that's where we do the cross-matching to see whether the patients are compatible with the blood. It's done at the hematology lab.
Apart from working at the hematology lab, did you work anywhere else?
No.
In 2009, did you have any cause to work anywhere else?
In 2009, yes, I was told to go to the presidential treatment.
Can you tell us how you were selected to go for the presidential treatment?
I was called by the then Minister of Health, Dr. Malik Jai, that Bacheli write a letter to the president that she need an assistant, and they identify me as to assist Bacheli.
Who was the then Minister of Health?
Dr. Malik Jai.
And who was Bacheli?
Abdullah Bacheli was the one collecting sample at the presidential treatment.
Do you know what the presidential alternative treatment was all about by the time they called you and told you that you needed to report there?
Yes, I just saw on TV that the president said he can cure HIV, and then they start the treatment in 2007, but for me, I was there in 2009.
When you received the call from the Minister of Health, did he tell you what your role will be at the presidential alternative treatment?
Yes, sample collection.
You were working at the RBTH then,
Yes.
not so?
Mm-hmm.
At the hematology department.
Yes.
Who was your immediate boss at the hematology department?
At that time,
Yes.
it was Landing Fall.
Was he aware of your transfer from the hematology department to the presidential alternative treatment?
Yes, he was told.
And this transfer you're talking about, was it formal?
No, it's just telephone call.
Was it normal for you to just receive a telephone call and told that you're supposed to report somewhere else without any formal procedures being done?
It's not normal, but as the Minister of Health who called me, I cannot say no.
How did you feel about being selected to be part of the presidential alternative treatment team?
Yes, because it's the minister who called me, I have to go. But working at the RBTH, I like working at the Edward Francis more than going to the presidential treatment. Because that's why when they told me to stay there, like the other nurses, I told them no, because I don't have anything to do. If I have sample to collect, I will come and collect it and go back to the Edward Francis, because patients need me there.
We'll deal with that one later. Let's just deal with this other line of questioning. When he called you and told you that you should report to the presidential alternative treatment, did he tell you where to report to?
Yes, he told me that Bacheli will come and pick me on Thursday for Kanilai, where they will do that batch treatment at Kanila.
And what batch was that?
4th batch.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived at Kanilai with Bacheli?
Yes, I went with Bacheli, and then he took me to the nurse in charge, and then told the nurse in charge that this is my assistant. She's going to assist me in sample collection.
Who was the nurse in charge?
Nima Baje.
And how did you go about collecting sample there?
No, I did not collect any sample there. We reached there on Thursday, then on Friday they started treatment with the president. They called me, and then I go with Bacheli and sit and watch. That was on Friday. Then the following day, on Saturday, I came back.
Can you tell us what you observed when you were?
Yes, they were doing the treatment, massaging patients, and then giving them medicine in a cup.
How were they massaging these patients?
They were rubbed with, I think it's a shea butter. Yes, shea butter, and I think it's other medicine, but I don't know that one. They will rub it and then start massaging.
We have received evidence showing patients who were virtually almost naked and being massaged. Was that a picture of what you saw there?
No, the one I saw, they were given a towel, and then they rubbed themselves, and then they were massaging the body.
While this process was going on, who else was in there apart from you and your post-bachelor?
No, we were not at the treatment. We were sitting because we are not part of it. It's the nurses and the president who were doing the massaging.
And when they were massaged, you said they were given something to drink as well?
After, yes.
Did you see what they were drinking?
No, I just saw it because I was sitting far away with them.
What was the demeanor of the patients after drinking the medication?
On that day?
Yes.
No, I don't see any reaction from them.
We were told that some of the patients reacted adversely to medication. Some were vomiting and some were weak after taking the medications. Did you see anything like that?
No, on that day I did not see anything like that.
From where you were and from where they were drinking the medication, how far was it?
It's like this hall. We were sitting here, they are doing the treatment around that area.
On that day, how many patients were they treating? If you can recall, that is.
I cannot recall, but it's many.
After they received the treatment, what happened?
After they received the treatment, after the president gone, and then we also go back to our various places, and then the following day I went back home.
You were sent there to collect?
No, I did not collect
samples?
No. I was just there to know that I am going to assist Bachile, but I did not collect any sample at that time.
Did you receive any orientation on that day on the work that you were supposed to do there?
No, Bachile told me. Bachile is the one who told me what to do.
And did Bachile tell you how you were going to collect the samples from the patients?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
He told me that whenever they are having a new batch, we will be collecting sample for the CD4 and then take it to the lab. And whenever they are discharging also, we will be collecting sample. In between, when they are called upon to collect sample for the patients also, we'll go.
Prior to you being called to the presidential alternative treatment, did you at any point while working at RBTH deal with HIV?
Yes, when I was at the sample collection room, because that room was general. You receive all patients, all kind of patients.
The first time you went to Kanila, you did not take any samples?
No.
Then what happened the second time you went again?
No, I did not went back there. After the patients come to the Sarakunda General Hospital.
So tell us about that arrangement. How do you usually carry out your work with respect to the patients?
Like?
How do you carry out your work with respect to the patients, like collecting samples? How do you do it?
Okay. Whenever they need sample collection, they call me and arrange the patients, call me, and then give me the list. I came and collect the samples and take it to the lab.
Apart from the list, did they provide you with any baseline information about the patients?
No. They just, the list they give me, they write their names, age, and their status.
Did you receive any document confirming the status of the patients before you collect the samples?
Some people, they come with their status results. And when they are giving me the list to collect their samples, they also indicate their status there.
You said some. Was that the case for all of them?
No, the time I collect their samples, some bring along their status. But before I came to collect the samples, they used to take the status form with the in charge, and then they write everything and then give me the list.
Were these new people or the people that were already in the program?
New people.
So the new people, some of them had documents that clearly states that they are HIV positive.
Yes.
And others did not provide any form of document.
No, the time I was taking their sample, but before you enter the treatment, you bring along your status results.
Were you the one that was given that responsibility to check whether that a particular patient is HIV or not?
No, they are the one.
So how certain are you that all patients that come through the treatment have to provide a document stating their status?
That's what they told me.
So it's just what you heard and not what you yourself have witnessed?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some of them bring along their status results when they are coming for the sample collection. But some of them, they say they take it to the office to enter. The list they give me, they write status. They write their status.
In the hospital, for example, and in dealing with a matter as sensitive as an infectious disease, is it normal for someone to deviate from a straightforward procedure, like a normal procedure, like providing authentic document to state that this individual has this disease, and then another person comes in without any document and says that, oh, I gave it to somebody else? Would that be a normal thing?
No.
It's an abnormal thing for some people to provide, and while others did not provide the documents, and they will say that the document is with somebody else. So when you receive all the list of the patients, with some the medical papers attached to it, and others no medical paper attached to it, what do you do?
Some of them I confirm their status. If they tell me before I came, I take some test kits and then confirm their status.
So you had a test kit that will confirm
Yes.
an individual status before you draw samples?
Yes.
Was this applied to all of them that came to you?
No, those who did not bring along their HIV status results.
So did you confirm the status of all of them before you drew their samples?
Yes, the first batch I met, I confirmed all of them.
That's the first batch you met?
The fourth batch I take.
The fourth batch was the first batch that you met personally?
Yes.
And you drew all their samples? So what happened afterwards?
Afterwards, I take their samples for CD4.
What's the essence of CD4?
Yes, to know the amount of virus in their body. Because they said before they give them the medication, they want to know whether their CD4s are high. Because some patients, when the CD4 are low, they will not take them to the treatment. That's what they said.
Has there been any situation where they rejected a patient because the CD4 count is low?
Yes.
And what was the reasoning behind this?
I don't know. Maybe it's their criteria.
Who was the person that determined the criteria for a patient to be admitted into the program?
It's Dr. Mbo.
What was his role in the treatment?
He was the Director General of the program.
After collecting the samples from the patients, that's the first batch, what did you do with that sample?
I take it to the lab for testing.
Which lab did you take it to?
The peripheral public health lab at Kotu.
Who was in charge of that lab?
Mutlamin Jaju and Alphonse. They are there at that time.
Was this lab in any way associated with the RVTH?
Yes, it's the public health lab, research lab.
And what kind of test would they conduct on the samples you sent?
CD4.
Only the CD4?
Yes.
You have been working with blood samples for a while. And when it comes to HIV patients, what kind of tests are usually conducted on persons that have HIV/AIDS? Do you know?
CD4 and viral load.
Can you please give us like a distinction between the CD4 and the viral load?
The CD4 is a white blood cell which help the immune system. The viral load is the amount of virus in
For a HIV patient, which test is more beneficial for an individual to know his or her status?
the test, the antigen antibody test.
Sorry?
The antigen antibody test.
The antigen and antibody test. Is that test different from the CD4 count and the viral load?
Yes, it's different. The antigen antibody test is the test they did to know whether you are HIV or not.
And, at the start of the treatment, apart from the CD4, that is when you joined in, did you do any of those tests that you mentioned, the antibody test and the antigen test?
Yes, that is the test to confirm whether the patient is positive or not.
Did you draw samples to check the viral load and the antigen test?
No, the viral load, no. The viral load is the test we take to Egypt because that time there is no viral load machine here.
So it's only the CD4 count that is looked into at the lab?
Yeah.
And after they've checked the CD4 count, can you tell us what happened? What your role is from there?
I take the results from the lab and bring it to the in charge or the secretary and give the results to them.
When you're recording, sorry, I missed this point, so I need to go back to it. When you are drawing the samples from an individual, how do you usually label samples?
Use numbers.
That's numbers. And how do you determine that a particular number is linked to a particular individual?
Yes, the list they gave me, they number it from 1 to any number. Like if I call number 1, take the sample, I'm going to, on that tube, I'm going to write 1, 0, 1, and then that is the number going to the lab.
For the purpose of proper recording, like every institution obviously, will ensure that there's proper recording system. How do you record these numbers and codes?
Yes, they are the one who filed, because after doing the test, I bring the original list and then compare it to the numbers I took to the lab and then give it to them for filing.
Was there like specific numbers given to each patient?
Yes.
So there was a unique number given to every individual patient, and each was separate from the other?
Yes.
And if you start numbering, for example, you said normally number 1, 2, and the 1 will be this name, the 2 will be the other name.
Yeah.
How would you then identify all the patients? Like probably patients that are like a whole lot.
Yes, you take those numbers. If it is from number 1 to 50, you label the tubes also 1 to 50. You will know that 1 is for this number 1, 2 is for number 2.
So it's just on, let's say, Alaji Babu, number 1, Binta Saho, number 2. And that is the trend you follow.
Yes.
What if when the samples come back, how do you now link the samples to those numbers? How do you link the samples to those numbers?
When they come back. Like when they come back.
Yes.
Or when
you receive the samples, yes.
Yes, I did the same.
You do the same thing.
Yes.
And you're able to track and trace down the numbers.
Yes.
That was for the first time that you did it.
And you write the batch number.
And you write the batch number. How about the second time that you went to collect samples at the presidential alternative treatment?
In between the treatment or?
In between the treatment, yes.
Yes, those samples were not many. Maybe those people who are very sick and they want to repeat their CD4. That's the one I took during the treatment.
You mentioned people who were very sick. And can you tell us about these people?
Yes, they are very weak and sick, really. And then if maybe they want to know their CD4, whether the CD4s are going down or increasing, that's the time I came back and then collect their samples again.
And you started with the first batch? Fourth batch, sorry. How many people in the fourth batch did you notice that were very sick at some point during the program?
I can't recall, but sometimes they used to call me and tell me that this and this and this need to be tested again to know the CD4 count again.
Was it quite often that they would call you to say that this person is really sick and you come back and check?
It's not often. It's time to time. Sometimes, even during the treatment time, I don't even go there more than twice until the discharge time.
Apart from collecting the sample when they start, you also collect the sample during the treatment when they call you to say that somebody is really, really sick and you need to check the CD4 count.
Yeah.
What other times do you usually collect samples?
When they are discharging.
For the fourth batch, what was the time frame within which you went back again to collect their samples?
I think it's after 6 months.
After 6 months of treatment. That was when you went back to collect their samples?
That one was for CD4 to be done here, but the viral load to Egypt.
Okay. Now let's talk about within that 6 months, you went to collect their samples. And you said when people are sick, you usually go there to collect samples. Can you recall how many times you went to collect samples of sick people within that 6 month period?
For the fourth batch?
Yes.
No, I can't remember.
So tell us, when you go to collect the samples at the point that they are discharged, tell us how you do it.
For the discharge?
Yes.
Yes, I just collect the 2 different samples. One for CD4 here, and then the other one to Egypt for the viral load.
How do you usually collect the samples? Is it that you just go there and then you draw blood from the same people that you drew from?
They give me list again.
This time around they give you a list?
Yes.
And can you recall how many people you attended to the first time?
The fourth
batch, yes.
That one is up to 60 something.
When you went back for their discharge, can you recall how many people you collected samples
That's
from?
what I mean. It's about 60 something patients.
About 60 something patients. You remember you told us about the filing system where you have the name of the person and a number attached to it. Now, when you went back for their discharge, did you use the same record or make reference to that old record?
No, I used the new list they gave me.
So they provided you with a new
list.
Now,
because that one also we take for viral load.
Let's look at the normal thing that happens at the hospital. When you receive a patient, especially a HIV patient,
yes,
and you have a history of that patient in the file, when the patient comes back again, what do? You
check the file.
You check the file, not so. This time around, you told us that you do not make reference to the old record. Instead, a new one is made. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So how certain are you that it's the same samples from the same individuals you collected the last time that you're collecting this time around?
Yes, yes, it's the same, but the only thing they added is the...
I know that you said the only thing they added is the viral load.
Yes.
That means an extra test is being done.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the extra test.
Yes, it's almost the same list.
Yes.
The only thing they added, because that one, the first one was CD4.
Yes.
This one, CD4 and viral load.
Yes, that is the test itself.
Yes.
I'm talking about the individual.
Yes.
Because when you go to, like I explained earlier, when you go to a hospital and you're sick, they make reference to the old record that you have with them before they attend to you. And you as a lab technician, you know that you cannot just have fresh documents for a patient who has a history with you. You have to go back to the old records in order to merge them together and go with the flow. But then if you have a new record, that means you are discarding the old one.
No,
So,
sorry, it's not discarding. They give, it's the same list, but what they added is only the viral load. But it's the same list,
So-
the same people.
that is what I'm talking about. You know, you have a history. Do you look at the old history?
When I'm taking the
Yes. Do you?
for the discharge.
Yes. Do you look at the old history?
No.
So you, after 6 months, you have no knowledge of what happened to the patients for the past 6 months, correct?
No.
And then you're given another list and you have to draw samples from the patients, correct? Do you do an antibody test there and then? Do you do that?
No. When
You
they are
don't-
discharged,
Yes.
no.
Do you check the status of the individual there when you're taking the samples for the discharge?
No.
So you have no idea whether the patient you're checking even has HIV or not?
No, that list, the list, the first, their status are there. It is the same list. The only thing they add is the viral load. That's what
Yes.
I'm saying, yeah.
That is, we're saying, basically
Because
saying
the
this.
list, their status are there.
Yes, we are
Whether it's
basically saying,
HIV1 or HIV2.
yeah, we're basically saying the same thing, but we're not understanding each other here.
Okay.
Let me explain again. You have an old list and you have an old record. The old record has the person's status and has the person's CD4 count when they start. Not so.
Yes.
And then when you go back to collect their sample, you do not have the person's name and status, do you?
No, the status is not there.
The status is not there. The person's previous CD4 count, is it there?
No.
It's not there. So you're just given a list and a number of people that you have to draw samples from, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that one is the one we take for viral load. What we need there is only the status, whether it's HIV1 and 2. We don't need this CD4 counts results there.
So you don't look at the history again?
The last history.
Yes, the previous one, you don't look at it?
No.
You just move on from there?
Yes, because this one is a viral load.
Do you even have access to the previous record when you go back to draw blood?
No, because the records is with them, the secretary or the nurse in charge.
And you don't even know, do you even know whether they're the same people, exactly the same people that you collected the samples from the previous time?
Yes, it's the same people.
How sure are you that it's the same people? You are dealing with about 60-something people, right?
Yes.
And 6 months later, you're called back to take the samples of another list of individuals. How do you know that you're dealing with exactly the same people that you
Because it's
handled before?
the same list they gave me before. The only thing they add is the viral load. That's why I said it's all the patients. It's all of them. 60-something patients. Because before I
No, go ahead, please.
collected those ones, the only changes is the viral load they add on the form.
You're talking about the form itself and the changes made on the form. I'm talking about the individuals themselves. Like, let's say, for example, I meet new people for the first time,
Yeah.
67 of them, and I collected their samples. If I come back again in 6 months, I can only remember a few. I cannot remember
Yes.
each individual face. As a like a reasonable person will not be able to remember each individual face
Yes.
of everyone that they treated 6 months ago.
It's true. Yeah.
So that is why I asked, how sure are you that it's the same individuals that you drew blood from 6 months ago that you are drawing blood from 6 months after?
Because they gave me the list and tell me that is the patients they admitted, and I met them there admitted.
So you just go by what they said to you?
Yes.
That these are the same patients that you drew blood from?
Yes.
And these are the same patients that are here?
Yes.
That we are requesting that you draw blood from them?
From them, yes.
Okay. Do you even have any kind of like relationship with the patients, like a chit chat or otherwise? Do you have that kind of space for that?
No, maybe the ones I know before, but the rest I don't have.
So
therapy.
you're not like totally fun patients?
No.
Okay. So let's move ahead. You mentioned Egypt.
Okay.
And you mentioned that when they were being discharged, that you had to take the samples
Yes.
to Egypt. Tell us about that.
Yeah, because Bachili went there for the first time. When Bachili went there for the first time, when I took over from him, because he went for studies, when I took from him, I was called by Dr. Bow and said, whether you have a passport. I said yes. Said the deputy chief of protocol will come and pick it from you to Dakar for visa, because you're supposed to go to Egypt to take the samples. I said okay. They took the passport, and then later on, after 2 weeks, I was on night duties. When I'm going home, I received a call from the deputy chief of protocol and said, we are going to Egypt on Saturday. I said, okay. He said, now on Friday evening, you can go to the hospital and then collect the samples for the patients. Then Saturday morning, we'll leave.
And that was how you went back to collect the samples for the discharge?
Yes.
And how did you collect the samples? Was it the same normal thing that you usually do?
The only difference is you have to separate this one from the red cells to the plasma. You take the plasma to Egypt, you leave the red cell, because if you are transporting blood, you separate it and then put it in a separate tube, freeze it, and then the following day we leave.
If new people were added to the tests, would you detect it?
No.
So you would not be able to detect whether there's an addition or not?
I don't know all of them.
The system that you described, you mentioned that you usually do like Adamafai, number 1, Isotofai, number 2, Ule, number 3, and then when you come back again, you have to do another Adamafai, number 1, Ule, number 3. So there are no unique numbers assigned to any specific patients, correct?
No.
Okay. So let's move to your trip to Egypt. You collected samples from the patients. Your passport was prepared, and then you were heading to Egypt. Did they tell you about any form of formal arrangements made with any lab in Egypt, perhaps?
No.
Did you have...
I think Bachiri talked to the deputy chief of protocol, or they talked to the team, because me, just to collect sample and then, because when we reach Egypt, we spend a day in a hotel without knowing the lab. After all, Jiba, the deputy chief of protocol, tried to trace Bachili's number and then call Bachili. And then Bachili explained to him where the lab is, and then we'll move.
So it was only Bachili that knew where the lab was?
Because he went there at first.
Sorry, how about the people that were heading the presidential alternative treatment? Didn't they know?
You know, because it's only Bachili who was taking samples. He went to Morocco, Senegal, and then Egypt.
How about, let's say, the head of the treatment? Did he know?
No, because that time Bacheli was the only one going. For me, I went with somebody, but Bacheli, he only go alone.
Do you know whether there was any formal arrangement between the treatment and the lab that you took the samples?
No, I don't know.
Do you even know if the lab knew exactly why those samples were being taken there?
No, they did not tell me anything there.
Well,
but they know apply. When we reach, Jiba told him that we are referred here by Abdullah Bacheli. They say yes, they know Abdullah. That's what they told us.
And Abdullah Bacheli worked at the RVTH, correct?
Yes, yes.
So when the samples are being taken there, was it done in the name of the RVTH or
No.
the Presidential Alternative Treatment?
I don't know but it's not from RVTH. I don't know which arrangement they have, but it's not RVTH.
Can you recall where this lab was situated?
The lab we went at, I cannot remember the name, but the lab was at around Tahrir Square in Cairo.
Sorry? Tahrir Square in Cairo, that's where the lab was?
Yes.
You said the first day you did not know where the lab was, and
After,
the person that traveled with you?
Yes, called Bacheli.
And who was this person, Jiba, that traveled with you?
Yes.
Who was he?
Deputy Chief of Protocol.
The Deputy Chief of Protocol.
Yes.
When carrying medical samples to another, what, under normal circumstances, what kind of arrangements are usually made?
Arrangements should be made within the lab and the samples, where the samples are from, in a normal circumstance. But I don't know which arrangement they made.
You were just told, take the samples, take it there. That's all you knew about it?
Yes, they talked to Jiba, and it's Jiba who told me that we are going. Maybe they make arrangement with, but I don't know. But that's what they told me.
Did you carry any documents with you when you were going there?
It's only the list of names, list of patients we took.
Only the list. Did you have any requests with you?
For that lab?
Yes.
No.
A request, a formal request for the lab to do a particular test with
No, for
respect
that
to
lab, any samples you have, they can do it as far as you pay, because you pay for each sample.
You paid for the samples?
Yes.
Can you recall who made the payments for the samples?
They give the money to Jiba. Is Jiba who bring along the money? I think it's from the president, because it's a lot of money, because each sample is $65.
Each sample was $65?
Yes.
And Jiba was the one that usually carried the money?
Yeah.
And you went up to the hospital, made the payments, and they just...
When we went to the lab, we give them the sample, arrange them for them, and then we go back to the hotel. When they through with the results, they call us, we go and do the payment, and then they give us the results.
Did the lab ask you any questions as to the sample there?
For me, they asked me whether these people are doing treatment, but they did not ask me which kind of treatment. I said, yes, they are doing treatment.
Was that the only question they asked about that?
Me, yes.
They were not curious as to why you were there?
Maybe they asked Jiba, but for me, that's the only question they asked me.
So how many days did you spend in Egypt?
We spent 2 weeks there.
2 weeks waiting for the samples?
For waiting for the results, yes.
So what happened after you received, wait, before that, the numbering of the samples to Egypt, how was it done?
The same thing.
The same?
The same number.
So it was the same Fatou Nyang number 1?
But for them, we give them the list.
You gave them the list of the names of people?
Yes, because when they are through with the test, they have to type the names. Under that name, they write whether it's undetectable or 1 million copies or so. We have to leave the form with them.
So they gave you the list and then you came back?
Yes.
Okay, what happened when you came back?
After the results ready, they will call us and then we go and pay and receive the results.
And you bring them back?
Yes.
Who do you usually hand over the test results to?
To Dr. Mbo.
And we had seen videos of where Dr. Mbo will actually read these test results. And some test results will say the CD4 count is, they will mention like millions of copies or so.
The viral load.
The viral load, they will mention millions of copies.
Yes.
Then after they will say this person is undetectable.
Yes, we have some undetectable, but it will not be more than 15. Out of 60-something, you don't have undetectable more than 15 patients.
When you take the sample of a person that does not have HIV, and you check the viral load, what will it tell you?
Undetectable.
When you take the CD4 count of a person that does not have HIV and you check it, what does it tell you?
The CD4 will be high.
So it's like you at first you told us that you're not even sure whether the person that they gave you the test, you're not sure whether the person has AIDS or not. So you taking that person's blood sample to a lab. If the person does not have AIDS, the machine will say undetectable, correct?
For the viral load, yes.
Now, in an instance where they're actually checking for the antibodies, when you take a person that does not have HIV to a lab, what will the results be?
Negative.
Negative. That is a definitive negative, not so?
Yeah.
But then if you're looking for the viral load of the person, it will tell you undetectable.
Yes.
Antibody will tell you
Negative.
negative. Correct? Okay. Now I'm beginning to understand these things. Do you know why they did not check for the viral load during this treatment?
No, there is no machine for viral load here.
But was there a machine for
viral load?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know why they didn't do that?
The viral load.
Yes.
That's what they were doing.
Sorry, my medical science knowledge is limited. It's limited to what I've read.
We did the
for this.
CD4 count here.
Yes.
But the viral load, we take it to Egypt because there was no viral load machine here.
Okay. The one that will say negative, can you tell us why they did not check for that?
Here.
In Egypt, when you went to Egypt?
No, because we have it here. The antigen antibody test.
So they had it here?
Yes. That's the test we do to know whether you are HIV positive or so.
Can you tell us why they did not do that test here in the Gambia here for the patients?
We did it. We did all here.
For the discharged patients?
Yes.
Why didn't they do that for them?
Because when you are positive, you always positive. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that test again.
What was the purpose of the presidential alternative treatment?
To treat HIV.
Was it to treat or to cure?
To cure, yes, to cure HIV.
Now, if you're saying that a particular treatment can cure an individual, which is the most suitable test to do for a patient that has, for some patients that have undergone such a treatment, which would have been a definitive conclusion to that person's status?
To see that patient is negative.
Yes.
No, that I don't know. I don't have any idea on it because HIV is curable. Is curable.
Yes, but what if it was like curable? What if like for say there is this treatment for HIV that can cure someone because that is what the treatment was selling?
Yes, if it is going to be cured.
Yes.
said this patient is cured.
Yes, which would have been the most suitable test to do for the
antibody test?
Antigen and antibody test.
Yes.
And the antigen and antibody test, was it ever carried out on patients that were being discharged?
No. Because if you do that test, they will still be positive.
Because they were not cured?
Yes, because
the treatment was a hoax, it was not working.
But anyway, if you test it again, they will still positive. So maybe the viral load can be undetectable also, but for the antigen antibody test, if you do it again, still now it will be positive.
And the antigen and antibody test was not done because they knew that the patients were not cured.
Yes, it's not done at the time of the discharge. The antigen antibody is not done. It's only the viral load they did.
How many trips did you take to Egypt to?
5.
5. That's a whole lot. 5 trips.
Yes.
How many undetectables during that 5 trips?
Each trip, I told you, each trip maybe you will not have more than 15 undetectable.
And in all those test results that showed undetectable, they never checked for the antigen and antibodies?
For me, I did not do it.
And for certain, they did not even, you cannot even tell which individuals' test results you were actually taking to Egypt to check the CD4 count and the viral load. Say for certain that that person that you were taking his test results was HIV positive. Can you for certain say that?
No.
You cannot?
No. Because they just gave me a list, as you said.
So if, for example, let's say people that were healthy, strong, and didn't have any virus in their system, if they were added into it, you would never have been able to detect it.
No. But the list they gave me, all of them are admitted there. That's my doubt. I don't. All the patients I collected were admitted.
That's even if all the patients were admitted there. But how do you know for certain that all the patients actually have HIV?
No, I don't know.
If you do not check their history and you don't have any baseline information when you draw blood for the purpose of them being discharged,
Yes,
how would you know that they actually have HIV?
because the list they gave me to collect the viral load, their status are indicated there.
It's only the list that the
Yes.
status is indicated
Yes.
on, and not the actual individual telling you, well,
No.
and not you confirming whether this person has AIDS or not.
No.
Okay, then I think this will be a convenient place to stop. It's time for the tea break now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I guess we are involved in all this because the president got involved in a matter that technicians and scientists would have been able to understand. For me, but I guess we'll have to continue. But thank you very much, Ms. Now we'll take a coffee break, 30 minutes, and then come back at 12 noon. Let's make it 40 minutes. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu dee da nga am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentey tamit si ay dàlla waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skin care plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii
Love like fire. Bring my yoboguma fire. Love like fire.
Miss V Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more. find us at Kololini Road, opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Preacher Station, or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
That's how she became mine and see the can't believe.
Yaran yilla domoro kadiyata.
Boy, janno CK's restaurant.
Sa nako be ninna dimbal. Nimba domoro kala janno.
Domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije. Luntan during tamala abeka domoro kijani. Adi manda wala de. Teka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa. E ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery. Iko fanan be kalele. Badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lon dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international o toda number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
e sa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandi
oto sa nakko be mu CK's restaurant
dafa nan janna mu yat ni manje dorom bijam
aban
CK's restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as
From the coffee break, Council, if we're ready to continue, please proceed. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Mr. Usher, can you please guide the witness in? Welcome back, Madam So.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you had a refreshing break.
Yes.
So can we continue now?
Okay.
Before the end of the break, you had told us about your work with the Presidential Alternative Treatment Program. You told us that you were responsible for collecting blood samples from patients and taking it to the lab. You told us that there was no unique numbering system, that it was just, with each badge, a number is assigned to a patient and later taken to the lab and brought back. And because of that, you were not sure if it's the same group of individuals that you were testing over and over again, not so. And you narrated how you took blood samples to Egypt to check their CD4 count and their viral load. And you also mentioned that at no time during the program did they conduct the antigen and antibody test, which is available in the Gambia, and that the antigen and antibody test would have been a definitive means of knowing whether the person actually has been cured of HIV or not. Not so. I'd just like to ask a few questions with respect to what we had discussed, just to get some clarification. The failure of the program to provide a unique number of identification for each patient. Can you tell us why they did not do that? Why they didn't provide a unique number for each patient from the time the patient is admitted? That is if you know.
No, for that one, I don't know.
You were with the program from 2009, correct?
Yeah.
And at what point did you did your services stop with respect to the program?
Around 2012.
2012. So you worked with them for 4 years?
Yes.
During that 4 years, how many badges were admitted into the program?
Because for me, I only met 4th and 5th batch.
The fourth and fifth batch. Can you tell us approximately how many people were in the 4th and 5th batch?
I can't tell, but it's some badges will go up to 80 something, some will go up to 60 something.
Let's say approximately you were working with close to 100?
Yes.
Or more than that?
It's not up to 100.
But you were working with them, not so?
Yeah.
And how many badges did you check, like did you draw samples from? Was it only the 4th and 5th batch, or did you also draw samples from the 1st to the 3rd batch while you were there?
No, from the 3rd, because when I came in, I met the 4th batch, but some patients from the 3rd batch were also there.
So roughly, can you estimate how many people you were dealing with at one time?
That's what I'm saying, about 80-something patients.
You told us that one batch, that is the 4th batch, may have been up to 80 or 60.
Yes.
And the 5th batch may have been close to that number too, which is more than 100, not so. So if you add the 3rd batch there, it's close to 200 people that you were dealing with at one time.
No, it's not at one time.
Can you please explain that?
Yes, maybe the 4th batch is not up to 60, because there are remaining patients from the 3rd batch which added to the new batch, making it 60-something or 80-something. That's what I said.
So you were dealing with a large number of people?
Yes.
And in dealing with a large number of people that do not have any unique numbers to identify them, you cannot for sure vouch that all the people that you were drawing blood from were HIV positive, can you?
That's what I think, that, because...
Can you for sure vouch that all the people that you were dealing with were HIV positive?
That's what they write, because the status were there.
Personally, can you vouch that they were HIV positive?
No.
And because of the large number of people, you would not know whether 1 or 2 people will be added to the numbers that you'll be taking, do you?
No.
Because of the manner in which the tests were taken and the manner in which the patients were recorded, that kind of system, would you say it was a system that would work?
It's not the normal system.
So the system was prone to manipulation. Would you say that?
Yes, but because it's not the normal procedure we were taking.
Because the system was not the normal procedure, and there were several abnormalities in it, which you have already outlined. Now, would you say that a particular system was prone to manipulation?
Yes.
And you being only limited to a specific role of collecting sample and taking it to a particular place and bringing it, would you be in a position to notice when the system is being manipulated?
No.
You did mention that you went to Egypt 5 times. And in those 5 times that you went for, what was the purpose of it? Was it for discharge patients that you went for?
Yes.
And you told us that in that within those test results that you brought back, there will be sometimes 15 or 5 people that will be undetectable. Would you for certain, we've already analyzed the fact that if you take a person that does not have HIV/AIDS and you check this antiviral load, it will be undetectable.
Yeah.
So would you for certain know that those 15 or 5 individuals that are placed in there, would you know whether they are HIV positive for certain or not?
No.
We have received evidence from witnesses, one in particular, Fatou, who stated that at the time when they were drawing blood from their group members, some soldiers were added to the people that they drew blood from.
For Fatou Jata's batch, I was not there. Those are the first batch. That time, Bacheli was there.
You were not there. Another witness from the 5th batch, Fatmata Bari, also mentioned there were some people that were in their group that were not HIV positive, that they added there when they were drawing their blood samples.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
Would you say that the situation that was created at that time can allow for such things to happen?
Yes, because it's the person who said it. Maybe they know, they see them, but for me, I don't.
Yeah. Would you say that the procedure that they laid out, would you say that it was so concrete that that could not have happened?
It can happen.
So it could have been, it could have been the case.
It can happen.
Thank you very much. Now, I'll just like to ask your own personal views about the treatment program. You had been with the patients in and out. You said you were not stationed there. But what did you make of that presidential alternative treatment?
Okay, the little knowledge, little medical knowledge I have, I know that HIV cannot be cured. But you cannot also blame the patients, because if you are sick and you know that this disease cannot be cured, and you have somebody, a president for that matter, announce that he can cure HIV, obviously people will just run and join the treatment. Maybe you go up to the extent of knowing that this cannot cure this HIV, then you go back whilst it was too late. I think we should just pray we don't have this kind of leaders again in the country. That's my...
Do you think that the treatment was effective?
No, because if it is effective, it will be cured. But none of them cured. Because if it is cured, if you test the antigen antibody again, you will have negative. But I don't see anybody having negative after the treatment.
And with respect to the treatment, there was no time that they actually did conduct an antigen and antibody test on the samples you collected?
After the treatment?
Yes.
No.
Well, thank you very much. After going to Egypt for over 5 times back and forth, what happened? Why did you stop all of a sudden?
They did not send again, because after 2012, I don't know, they did not admit. The patients will just come to the clinic and take medication and going back.
During those times, did they call you for any type of work there?
No.
During the time that you were with the presidential alternative treatment, did you receive any remuneration from the program?
Yes, they give me $1,000 for a month.
How about your work at the RBTH? Was it still running as smoothly as always?
Yes.
Apart from you, was there anyone else that was collecting blood samples from the patients? That is apart from you and Bacheli?
No.
None at all. During the time when you were collecting blood samples from the patients, were you aware of any deaths that occurred during the course of the program?
Not, because I don't stay with them. If any deaths occur, if I don't ask, I will not know.
Was there any time that you drew a sample from a patient that was really sick and you went there and did not see that patient again?
I cannot know, because if at all I went back there and that patient is not in my list to collect sample again, I will not bother to check because they are in their wards.
So you've already told us that there are times when patients get really, really sick. What happens when patients get really, really sick? Do they still remain in the program?
Yes.
Were they allowed to take any other medicine apart from the medicine given to them by the president?
Yes, they have medicine there with the nurses.
Who will usually attend to them?
The nurses.
Can you mention some of the nurses that were there working with the patients?
Mudlamin Jata was there, Nima Baji was there, our Jame was there, our Jai was there, Mommy was there. And who else? Binta Jame was also there.
In terms of record keeping, you mentioned that when you come from the labs, you usually come with the records showing their samples. Can you tell us how the records were kept?
No, I don't know. Because when I come, I just give them the results. I don't know how they kept the results.
Was there any form of record keeping?
I don't know.
Did you have any records of the patients with you at that time?
At that time, yes.
Which records were in your possession?
It was the results.
Do you still have those records with you?
No, because one time they called me and said the president requested for the results from Egypt because the ones they were having was lost. And then I gave them my copy. They said they will photocopy it and give it to me back, but still no. I followed them, but they did not.
They said the ones they were having was lost.
The president, the results he was having was lost, and then he need other copies.
Did you make any photocopies of the records that you handed over?
No, I gave it to them for them to photocopy and give me my copy, but I followed them till the end of the program. They did not give it to me.
What was the essence of having those copies?
Me?
Yes.
In case they need it.
Wouldn't you say...
Or they lost their copies.
Wouldn't you say in order to check the history of the patient?
No, I just photocopy and keep. In case they ask for me, I gave it to them.
So throughout the time that you worked as someone that draws blood from the patient, you did not have any records, proper records of any of the patients with you?
No, they are the one who keep records. The secretary there.
Who was the secretary there at that time?
Fatou Tambedu.
And you had no record with you?
No.
So you were just going with the flow with respect to the treatment?
Yes.
After coming from Egypt, over 5 times going back and forth, was there at any point that any of the patients were from the treatment and they said everything was okay with them?
Yes, they discharged some.
Do you know what happened to the patients that they discharged?
What's happened to them?
Yes.
They said they are okay, that's why they discharged them.
Do you know for certain that those patients were okay?
No, I don't know.
Did you at any point come across any of the patients that they had discharged from the treatment?
No.
After the treatment, where were you working?
Still at RVTH.
In what unit at the RVTH?
Still at hematology lab.
And at the hematology lab, you do come across HIV patients, correct?
No. The HIV patients are going to the IDC, infection disease control, at the pediatrics unit. They have a unit there.
So you have no connection with them?
No.
And you cannot tell us whether you've seen any patient return to the RVTH?
No.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you for answering all of my questions, Mr. Chairman. That will be all for me for the witness.
Thank you very much indeed, my counsel, and thank you, Madam Dow, for your testimony and for agreeing to come and help us understand this particular aspect of our proceedings. But thank you for coming to testify before us.
Yeah.
Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. Commissioner C. Imam C, you have the floor, please.
Thank you. We appreciate your testimony here. My question is regards the trips you made to Egypt. Have you ever encountered any problems with him, given that he knew the missions he was sending you on were not based on any truth? If you ever had any problems in those trips with him? Secondly, the medication the president was using to treat these patients, those of you who are doctors, have you ever attempted to test those medicines to ascertain whether they were good or not? These are the questions.
Okay, no, we never have problem with him during our traveling to Egypt. We don't have any problem with him. Secondly, the medication, no, we never tested it.
Thank you. Commissioner, Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor, please.
Good afternoon, Awa.
Good afternoon.
In your explanations, you said in the beginning of for registration, if your CD4 count is low, you are rejected. You are not allowed. These are the most vulnerable people, because with the lower the CD4, the more vulnerable. Why are we rejecting those most vulnerable? Do you have any idea why?
No, I don't have any idea of why they're rejecting them.
But you agree that those are the most vulnerable?
Yes.
The second point is, you said once confirmed positive, you are always positive. You can never be negative. Now, let's take for an example that someone's viral load has become undetectable. If the person discontinues taking medication also, is it possible that the person resumes a high viral load level and so status rising to AIDS from HIV only? Yeah.
Yes, if he stopped the, for example, if you are taking ARV,
yes,
when you stop it because of it's undetectable,
yes,
if you stop it, the copies will multiply.
And then it will now become detectable.
Yes.
My third point is, you said the plasma and the blood cells, white blood cells, are separated. Are they taken in separate cubes to Egypt, or because I was confused, one of them is taken or both?
No, it's one of them.
The plasma?
Yes, the plasma will be taken. Because the red cells, if you take the red cells and you spend more time on the way, it can hemolyze. That's why we use the plasma and then separate it in another tube and then take that one.
Now, you did the collection.
Yes.
Were you always custodian of these items from the collection until at the lab?
Yes.
You were the only custodian?
Yes.
No other person has access to them?
Yes, when I'm collecting the samples, because of the patients are too many, the nurses used to help me to collect the samples when we are going to Egypt.
But you don't doubt that when they collect, they are collecting from the appropriate patients for you?
Yes, the ones.
That is because the number is large?
The ones in the list.
But from then on, you are the custodian
Yes.
of the samples right to the lab?
Yes.
My next point is about the relationship between when you collect, you take it over. You don't have any access at the lab.
No.
They only give you finished
Results.
results. Okay. Again, I have a point here. We have been told that a number of people died during treatment. If the numbers seried, because you have badges, maybe I first ask, is the numbering a continual thing from 0001 to 180 or to 1000? Or is it a badge arranged manner like a badge 1, 01, and so?
Yes.
Now, when someone's moved over from a badge because was not well and brought into a new badge, what is the arrangement?
You start that one. That batch also you start from 1, including those from the last batch.
Including those from the last batch?
Yes.
You serial them,
Yes.
1 and so on?
Yes.
Now, when someone dies, 3 people have died in the interim, maybe 15, 28, 30. Obviously, when your numbers are coming, when you have been given to take samples again, did you have any moment when you detected absence, in which case you can, well, either conclude or speculate absence related to that?
No, I don't ask them.
So anytime you are given a new one, if you are going to administer,
Yes.
you, like especially during at the moment of discharge, you just have the serial numbers in order.
Yes.
So even when one died, the number is now cancelled.
Yes.
So in that case, then people's
No,
Yes.
if somebody dies, it will not appear in that form.
Fine. If it does not appear and it was 18, now what was 19 will now become 18.
No, they will make another form. They will make another list starting from 1. And
from 1 and so on.
That one.
That's what I'm saying. I said the inconsistency is the 19 now will replace the 18.
Yes.
20 replacing the 19. So there is a lot of credibility gap. Don't you think so?
Yes, but that's how they did.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Imam Mala, please.
Witness,
Yes.
today I want you to give us a validity of the project that you are participating in, because I think everybody is interested in actually what actually transpired, and you have disclosed to us here so the measures that we are taking and how they were doing it, whether valid or not, but you today can validate for us whether this project was really valid or not. Thank you.
It's not valid because if the project was valid, you will have people negative results. When you recheck the antigen antibody, you will have negative. But after the treatment, even if you check the patients back, you will still have positive.
Thank you. That's it? Oh, thanks very much. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Awandao.
Yes.
You identified the samples returned by the number that was given to each patient. Now, for example, if you had, say, 5 Moriba ketters, how are you going to identify which of the Moriba ketters?
You will have initial.
Hello?
If you have 2 Moribas, you have initial in between. They will ask for initial. In between, yes.
Now, from the 60 patients plus, you mentioned that there are not more than 5.
No, 15.
Oh, 15, sorry. 15 undetectable. Now, how sure are you that the samples that we are taking to Egypt, that these 15 were not the original in the list before?
No, the ones in the list, that's the one we collected. Because to know that there are some healthy people, they include. Because for me, I was thinking that all of them are patients. But as far as patients were saying that there are other healthy people there, I cannot say no. Because they stay together there, I don't know.
Thank you. There are no other questions. Madam Dow, what was the administrative arrangement between the program and those of you who were working in the Ministry of Health or at was everybody else in the program?
That $1,000 is top up from the presidential treatment, but we were still receiving our salaries.
An allowance. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any concluding remarks to make, please proceed to do so now.
Okay, just to thank the entire TRRC team, because to sit here and talk is not easy. With the help of them, I can able to do it. I thank all of them for their support.
Thank you very much indeed. And as I said, we are very grateful to you for agreeing to come and testify. As I said, help us understand this, the issues involved in this particular theme that we're involved in. Again, thank you so much on behalf of the Commission for coming to testify.
Thank you.
We will take a lunch break and then come back at 2:30. But lawyers and counsel, you guys have any points to raise before we do that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We will take a break now and we will resume for this afternoon session. I was wondering whether we can resume at 2 instead of 2:30, but there is prayer time. So maybe 2:15, so we can gain 15 minutes.
Well, you know my views on this. Those who want to spend time praying, that's why we start at 2:30, but if you can start at even 2 o'clock, we will do that. 2:15 is all right.
2:15 should be fine.
2:15 is all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we'll take a lunch break now, and 2:15 sharp, we should be back here in the hall. Thank you all very much. Meeting is adjourned.
ngeen fan la skincare la 2020 lañ wax de waaw fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache perfect skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu dee am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal bel laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit benn tey tamit si ay dàlla waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yi picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii
Love like fire. Bring my yoboguma fire. Love like fire.
Miss B Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more. find us at Kololini Road opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Preacher Station, or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
That's how she became mine and see the
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentey tamit si ay
Until when I got to the age of 8 years in 1981, I was enrolled at Sukuta Primary School. 6 years later, in 1987, I proceeded to Nusrat High School. And then in 1992, I again proceeded to Gambia High School to do my advanced level. From there, I went into photography and freelance reporting. From May 1994 to December 1995. December 1995, I was appointed at the RVTH, former Royal Victoria Hospital. December 1995, Royal Victoria Hospital. As a pharmacy technician in training. Yeah, with the aim of proceeding to Ghana to study pharmacology. About 13 months later, there was an advertisement for officer cadet selection in forces. And which year was this? This was in 1997, January. By then I was already bored at the hospital. So I immediately tendered my resignation. I gave them 1 month notice from January to February. Although the selection was supposed to be in March. I remembered my mom telling me, why don't you wait until when you succeed before you leave your former job? I told her I want to succeed. I want to go into this selection with a wholehearted, commitment. I don't want to leave any room for doubt or for turning back. So later on, I participated in the cadet selection board. And I succeeded. I came second position overall. And on the 1st of May, we were officially appointed as officer cadets of the Gambia Armed Forces. Of which year? 1997. 1st of May 1997. And what did you do after that? We were sent to the Gambia Armed Forces Training School for basic military training. Gambia High School Purkata Gambia National Army Purkata Sojaro Law Bunda Karanje. And already as cadet officers. Officer cadet. Officer cadet loyalty. Until August, we graduated. For August, since there is no position for an officer cadet, in the normal military orbit, that's the order of battle. Sent to the training school while we await our formal training as military officers into foreign countries. My turn came in 1998 September. September 1998.
I was sent to Nigeria at the Nigerian Defense Academy.
Yenteki Nigeria la kanta anintanka karambumba nyinto.
Do my basic officer training.
Purkata officer ya doku karamulaji.
This lasted for 1 year. I came back to the Gambia in 1999 in September.
Sanji kilingati inseta na Gambia 1999 September.
From a cadet.
Makamu mensuto so karamunyum bundala.
When I returned to the Gambia, I was posted at defense headquarters.
Rimuruta na Gambia yensamba sojaro la kanto famoto.
As the officer or the military of the I stayed on 2002.
2000.
Then I was office.
So
chief at that time me to the post one in the Peterson one because of and my size good as ceremonial battalion parades president is in and out. Infantry
barracks.
No, allow a three.
I did not money office.
Infantry bundati.
Mr. Gano, considering that these testimonies are listened to by a good cross-section of Gambian society, perhaps it is important that we now and again important values. Is it really normal for junior officers to rebel against instructions or orders given by their seniors?
Council kaya ngin dum kra jube nga abonyoto fodum nyim munyan tolete puru dindungulu sojar bundala yin nyanto sotale kabalang ila kebal la kangola utumo.
Rebel is a wrong choice of word.
Ako kafu rebel amunta wo amang nyang kala.
Please use a more acceptable language.
Council kaya wato fem for mensike kuti sementa.
You can raise a concern on issues that affect you as a military officer.
Isi kuolu ulindi nole me yalon ko ifawla kulong woti lafta falingula dame ni ibe makamo to sojar yala.
So in this case, what did you do? Did you rebel, quote unquote, against the orders, or did you express your concerns and made suggestions as to what you thought was most appropriate under the circumstance?
Yes, I walked to the office of
yemuneke purila balanda ka fintindi nyin kamala ye balanda me yitandi fo isa tamandi lo puru itilafta tala da min fo so bundadila.
I just walked to the office of the Chief of Defense Staff, Colonel Babakar Jatta.
Kata mala kata Chief of Defense Staff la officer to ka fu me Colonel Babakar Jatta.
I told him my mind, and then he approved for me to go to Farafenye, the 2nd Infantry Battalion.
Nangani yo fai. Alanga take asonta betun akunata farafenye wala infantry battalion flanja moti meni alon ko tumul be farafenye.
And what was your role in Farafenye?
Council ka ila lodula mu munetinu farafenye.
I didn't get exactly what I wanted by going to Farafenye.
Ako alafta men na fam. Amma wasoto de ala farafenye tato.
My aim was to be appointed as a platoon commander and be posted to either Kudang or Basse.
Kala ngani yo munyele tunum purisa ke platoon commander wala mfanna nyaton ko purisa samba Kudang wala Basse.
But unfortunately, I was appointed as a battalion adjutant and posted at the battalion headquarters.
Bitu inatata ka battalion adjutant wala battalion la dukula me ya long kwa star kulukuna inata sindi battalion dinkira nyimfangle tuje.
And to which battalion were you posted this time around?
Second Infantry Battalion in Farafenye.
Council Kai Battalion Juma ko battalion Flanja Mbembe Farafenye ji.
How many battalions did you have at this stage?
Council Kai Battalion jelle be kerin sojar bunda la Tembo.
There were about 4 battalions.
Se loko tumo battalion nani le bije.
Were they of real battalion size or were they just called battalions?
Some were even more than the size of a battalion. Yeah, more or less, they were all of the battalion size.
Akai wotumo battalion ulfaida be tembetale yiriko la karola be kanyantale.
Where were they located?
Ebenu minto ni battalion.
Hosted at Fajara Barracks.
Well, state guard la battalion before.
That's correct, Council.
Akotonyala.
Proceed, please.
Council
The second one was at Fajara. And then the other one was at the Yundum. And the fourth one in Farafenye.
Okay. So you became adjutant at Farafenye Barracks? For how long?
I was a battalion adjutant from July 2002 until December 2003.
Did you get bored again?
Adjutant 2002 kata for 2003.
Exactly. After 18 months, I was bored again, and then I moved on.
And this time?
Ako sanji kilin kari woro kola bata anasi takote ke dala lafta ka sound kaboji.
And then this time around, what became your new endeavor?
I was sent to Sierra Leone as a United Nations peacekeeper.
Ako ya ke Sierra Leone atata Sierra Leone kake United Nations la kaira sabatindi latije.
With UNAMSIL?
Ani UNAMSIMBA.
Staff at the State House who was present when President Jammeh was approving my resignation
told me
that Jammeh says he's giving you only 3 months, you will come back and beg him for a job.
That's quite an interesting statement to make, but nothing at all happened to you for resigning.
Absolutely
nothing.
In fact, your resignation was approved by Jammeh, wasn't it? And you have since moved on to other things.
Yes, sir, Council.
You had a good relationship with Jammeh, didn't you?
Hadamaya kende bala soto ini yaya Jammeh foto nyande.
A very, very good one.
Ako chokinyola kende ba.
I will underline those words, very, very good one. And in fact, as ADC, you would have a close relationship with the president.
Kake ADC di goto abe kala nyine de ko hadamaya kende bala be ning yaya Jammeh tema fo.
Proceed, please.